Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. We're going to take a look at some interesting stuff happening with Luminar Technologies.
LAZR, right?
Yeah, LAZR. You sent over some info on this, and we're going to kind of unpack what's been going on.
I think it's really interesting. It should be a good one to break down. We can look at today's technical picture.
Okay.
It's March 17th, 2025.
Okay.
And of course, the broader market's affecting Luminar.
Right.
Then we'll dive into how the company's actually been doing,
Okay.
earnings, and then get into this news that's really been driving the price action.
Okay, so really pull out those key insights, what everyone needs to know.
I think so.
Okay, so on March 17th, 2025, Luminar saw a pretty huge jump.
It was a big one.
Intraday surge.
29%.
29%. So give us a little context from a technical standpoint about what that means.
Well, it was trading in a range
Yeah.
between like $2.50 and $3.50 for a good chunk of early 2025.
So this is a big change.
Big change. So this surge took the price towards $4.50,
Okay.
which is key because it broke through a resistance level
Got it.
near $4.
Okay.
So that could mean we're going from consolidating, kind of moving sideways, to a potential breakout.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And the volume, was there a lot of buying pressure behind this?
Huge volume.
Okay.
I mean, on March 17th, it was really elevated, which means there's strong buying pressure.
Oh.
In the weeks before that, the volume had been declining.
Interesting. Okay. So that seems to be a really important data point there.
For sure.
What are some of the key technical indicators?
Okay. So if we look at the 50-day simple moving average,
Okay.
it was likely somewhere between 320 and 340.
Okay.
And the price closed above it, which to technical types is a good sign,
Okay.
a bullish sign. But then if you look at the 200-day SMA, which is more of a longer-term trend indicator, that was probably around $4.80 to $5.
Got it.
So that's a key resistance level.
Okay.
It's above the 50-day, but below the 200-day, so it could be an early stage of a recovery.
Okay.
And then if we look at momentum, the 14-day RSI, that probably jumped way up,
Okay.
above 70, which means it's overbought.
Got it.
Before the surge, it was pretty neutral.
Okay.
So that just means it might be overextended.
So what are some of the key price levels to keep an eye on moving forward?
Well, there's immediate support at that $3.50 mark.
Okay.
That's where it closed before the jump.
Okay.
And of course, the 50-day SMA we talked about.
Got it.
Resistance is going to be up at that $4.80 to $5 range.
Okay.
That 200-day SMA, and psychologically, $5 is a big number.
Okay. So you said this surge seems to be what you called a news-driven spike. What does that tell us about how long this might last?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean there's been a fundamental change in the company.
Right.
Or a long-term shift. It was consolidating before, so that formed a base.
Okay.
If it can hold above $4, it could be what they call an ascending triangle breakout,
Okay.
which is usually good.
A good sign. Okay, so say someone already owns shares of Luminar.
Yeah.
What should they be doing right now?
Well, I mean, I think holding is a good idea
Okay.
for existing holders.
Okay.
But if you're looking to buy now,
Yeah.
after that big jump, you might want to wait for a dip.
Got it.
And if you're thinking of selling after buying lower, maybe take some profits off the table.
Okay.
And for new positions, I would set a stop loss
Okay.
below 3.5.
Okay, so manage that risk.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the broader market now.
Okay.
What was happening in mid-March 2025 in general?
Well, the market was kind of all over the place.
Right.
The S&P hit a record high
Okay.
back in late January.
Okay.
And then there was a sell-off in early March
Mm.
because of, all this uncertainty around economic policy.
So a little volatility.
Yeah, I mean, growth stocks especially, tech, autonomous vehicles,
Right.
they were getting a lot of scrutiny.
Okay.
But, specific catalysts like news about breakthroughs in autonomous driving tech, that's helping some stocks,
Got it.
like Luminar.
Like Luminar. So speaking of Luminar, you said this isn't the first time we've seen big price swings.
No, they've been dramatic.
Okay.
And, today's 29% jump,
Yeah.
that's the biggest one-day gain in 2 months.
Wow.
But before this, the stock was down like over 98%
Oh, wow.
from its peak back in 2020.
Oh, I see. So after the IPO.
Right after the IPO.
Okay, so that puts it in a different perspective.
Definitely.
So this big jump
Yeah.
was because of this video.
Yeah, the main catalyst was this YouTube video
Okay.
called Can You Fool a Self-Driving Car?
Okay.
Came out 2 days ago, March 15th,
Okay.
by Mark Rober,
And he's a Devaney.
former NASA scientist.
Oh, interesting. So this is a legit video.
Oh, yeah. So he put Luminar's LiDAR up against Tesla's autopilot
Okay.
in 6 tests,
Yeah.
head-to-head.
And what were the results?
Luminar's was better in every test.
Really? Every single one?
All 6.
Okay.
Especially in tougher conditions,
Okay.
like bad weather, tricky lighting. The video blew up, too.
Okay.
Over 11 views in just 2 days.
Wow, so that really drove the price action.
For sure. Lots of investor excitement.
Okay, so beyond the stock price, what does all this attention mean for Luminar?
Well, it's giving them a ton of visibility, not just with investors, but with, like, the general public.
Okay, so broader awareness.
Definitely. That can help when you're working with car companies and trying to get your tech out there.
Okay, so let's talk financials.
Sure.
What did Luminar's recent earnings reports tell us?
So for the 4th quarter of 2024,
Okay.
analysts were expecting a loss of about 16 cents per share
Okay.
on revenue of 17.5 at.
Okay.
But, in the past, Luminar's beaten earnings estimates 3 out of the last 4 quarters. For Q3 2024.
Yeah.
They had revenue of 15.49 done.
Okay.
The loss per share was 18 cents, which was better than expected.
Okay.
And their non-GAAP free cash flow was better, too.
Okay.
They've been cutting costs.
So some positive signs there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're being careful with their spending, which is good.
Yeah.
But they're still not profitable.
Right.
And they have negative gross margins.
Okay, so what does that mean exactly?
It means basically it costs them more to make their products than they're getting from selling them.
Got it. Okay.
So becoming profitable, that's still a big goal.
Okay. Aside from the video, are there other industry things we should know about?
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch.
Okay.
Luminar's tech is in the Volvo EX90,
Okay.
which is shipping now.
Okay.
And it's going to be in the ES90 too,
Got it.
which is coming out in 2025.
Okay.
And there's talk of a partnership with a major Japanese automaker. We should hear more about that in the first half of 2025.
Got it.
Plus, the LiDAR market is expected to explode
Really?
from $2.9 billion in 2025
Okay.
to $15.8 billion by 2034.
Wow.
That's like a 21% growth rate year over year.
Huge.
Luminar is one of the leaders. They do hardware and the AI software.
Right.
But there's more competition popping up all the time.
So we should also probably mention the CEO, Austin Russell, right?
Yeah, his home was destroyed in those wildfires back in January.
Yeah.
It's not directly related to the business.
Right.
But, it gives you some context
Yeah.
about what he might be dealing with
Absolutely.
during a crucial time for the company.
Okay, so big picture, what are the main trends we're seeing with Luminar?
Well, the stock price is super sensitive to news.
Okay.
That tells me investors are watching closely
Right.
and they react quickly.
Got it.
Financially, they're getting better,
Right.
managing costs, cash flow,
Yeah.
but profitability is still a challenge.
Okay.
And then, the whole autonomous vehicle and LiDAR space,
Yeah.
that's getting a lot of attention,
Yeah.
maybe even pulling away from the general tech fatigue.
Interesting. What about the source you sent? You mentioned potential investment opportunities.
Yeah, so for short-term traders, this momentum could be a play,
Okay.
but you got to be careful. It could pull back.
Right.
For longer-term investors who are okay with risk,
Mm-hmm.
the partnerships and the growth of the LiDAR market are appealing, especially since the stock's way down from its peak.
Got it.
And then there's hedging, like using put options to limit potential losses.
Interesting. What are some of the biggest risks to watch out for?
Well, financially, they're still a bit shaky.
Okay.
They have a lot of debt, operating losses, and they need more funding.
Okay.
Plus, there's competition from other LiDAR companies.
Right.
And Tesla with their whole different approach.
Right.
And, technology changes fast.
Mm-hmm.
What's hot today might be obsolete tomorrow.
Right. Okay. So clearly a lot going on with Luminar.
Yeah, it's a wild ride. This video created a buzz,
Yeah.
but it's not just about the hype. You got to look at the technicals, the market, their financials, the whole industry.
Absolutely. So the surge is exciting, but the long game depends on execution, partnerships, and whether the LAZR market keeps growing.
Exactly.
So keep an eye on the next earnings report.
Yeah.
That Q4 2024 report due around March 20th, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
That should give us a better look at the fundamentals.
Absolutely.
So what does all this mean for you?
Good question.
Well, it shows how unpredictable the market can be.
Yeah.
You got to understand both the technicals and the fundamentals. And investing in new tech, it's a roller coaster.
It really is.
Hopefully this overview is useful. If you want more, subscribe, like, and let us know what you want us to cover next.
Always happy to dive into new topics.
See you next time.
See ya.